Hey guys, how's it going? You know, it's the beginning of a new year. I'll be completely bald. Yellow Ackie, Reptile. Hey guys, how's it going? Hope your week is doing really good. Today we're going to be talking about Russian tortoises, my Tortellini, and specifically how to keep their nails and beak trimmed. We're going to talk about 5 methods, all mostly natural and something you don't need to do in a routine, something you could design the enclosure around and just let happen. I just want to point out that their nails, they're supposed to be somewhat long and their beak isn't supposed to be super short, so don't overthink it. I have probably footage going right now of what mine looks like. That's probably ideal and what you should aim for. But let's hop into the video and we'll talk about these 5 methods. Now, the only non-natural, not designed for a method is our number 5. That's going to an exotic vet. A lot of exotic vets will go ahead and trim the beak and nails for you. That's something they could do and something that they know more so about. You can do manual trimming yourself. I've never done it, so I personally don't want to recommend that as one of my 5 because I just have no hands-on experience doing that. So I just say, if you want to be safe and you don't want to, risk doing it yourself, I don't know what risks there are, go ahead, go to Exotic Vet, make an appointment, and I'm sure they will take a look at your Russian tortoise, not only trim it, but tell you if it needs to be trimmed, because like I said, they do have rather long nails that are important for them to keep, to burrow, and their beak isn't supposed to be super short, so you might be doing fine, and you might be a little unsure of whether you need to trim them or not. So an Exotic Vet, specifically one that specializes in reptiles, has some reptile-related research, they'll be able to tell you all that and be able to do that if it's required. So number 5, visit an exotic vet, make an appointment with them, and that way you can go ahead and do it, be super sure you're doing it correctly. But this is more of a routine. By the way, make sure to check that lower right hand corner, hit that subscribe button, and hit that bell as well for more updates on the channel. This past month of January, we've gotten the most subscribers ever in a month period. I'm really happy with this channel's progress, and I'm hoping you'll be a part of it. So make sure to check that lower right hand corner. Much more reptile content to come. Number 4 on the list is burrowing. This is really important for Russian tortoise care and definitely helps with their nails. Specifically, they like to wedge themselves in corners. So in the corner of an enclosure that you have, if you have something box-shaped or rectangle-shaped, they will try to burrow in there and they will do some scratching along the edges of the enclosure. And that really helps trim down their nails, much more so than actually going through the dirt. My Tortellini always burrows in the corners and scratches against the wood. I've been even thinking when I upgrade Tortellini to a trough, which is more circular, I'm going to try to put some under the substrate wood pieces. I don't really know how to describe it. Just something when he burrows that he'll rub up against and scratch, almost like an underground scratching post. I guess that's a good analogy to make, but we'll have to see. I don't know if that's going to be possible or how I would design it, but if you have something square, something rectangle, this is very doable and something I totally recommend. Burrowing will help somewhat though. Also, if you have a hide that's somewhat solid, they will burrow in the hide and scratch against that. I made a DIY hide out of, I think it's cinder blocks and then a wood piece on top that was just Gorilla Glued. I think that's what it is. But that helps a lot. Cinder blocks are really hard and definitely something to scratch against that will help trim those nails. So that is definitely something you could do. Make a lot of burrowing type things, a lot of in the way stuff, rocks maybe, just blocks. That will lead into another point I have coming up. And that point is exactly what we're going to talk about in number 3, hard to eat on surfaces. Now these surfaces will probably be pretty 3-dimensional and go into the substrate a little bit, and that's what I'm talking about, having hard surfaces underneath the substrate that when they burrow they scratch against. But in number 3, what we're going to be talking about is eating. You want to place their food on a harder surface, so when they go to eat their food, they naturally trim their beak on the hard surface. This is probably the most effective way of trimming their beak, other than the direct food item you're offering, which we'll talk about in a minute. It works very well, and I can't recommend it enough, and it totally beats having to give a specific plate every time you feed them. You could just place it on a spot in their enclosure. So I highly recommend this, but I have 2 more methods we can talk about for trimming down the beak coming up now. Oh, and I also want to mention that these hard to eat on surfaces, they're great for your tortoise's nails as well. Not only do they file them down when they burrow near them, but they'll just naturally walk over them as they do their daily activities, and that will file them down. They are also very eccentric eaters and will be definitely moving around on top of that hard surface while they eat. I actually place different hard surfaces around my enclosure, not only to trim down the nails of my tortoise when he walks over them or near them, but it adds great enrichment. A great enrichment tool is to add different vertical height in your tortoise's enclosure and different surfaces types, if that makes sense, surfaces types. Different surface types are great because tortoises have a lot of feeling on their underbelly, and they can feel the differences in what they walk across. Sometimes they like the feeling of a harder surface. Sometimes they like to feel the burrowable substrate, the much looser substrate. All that adds enrichment and definitely makes something your tortoise can be curious about. Not only is cuttlebone a great natural source of calcium for your Russian tortoise, but it's also amazing to trim down Russian tortoise beaks. Now, I will fully admit Tortellini does not use this cuttlebone. I've tried multiple times, but for those that will, it's a great source and just another hard surface to rub their beak against. It's really just about having their beak rub up against a hard surface to file it down. That's really the goal here, and the goal in number 1, which we'll talk about in a second. I know I keep teasing you guys about what's coming next. But yes, if you can get a cuttlebone to work, I recommend it. Usually they're found in most bird-related sections if you go to a pet store or if you go to a shop that's not reptile specific. Even online, you may need to search in a bird section if it's not a reptile specific website. So do keep an eye out for that. Cuttlebones work very efficient and very well. And like I said, they're also great for calcium. So they have 2 benefits right there. And finally, number 1, food items. Yes, food items themselves can be great beak trimmers and even nail trimmers. When they eat something that's quite sticky to their face, they'll get a little itchy. I don't know what you want to describe the feeling. I'm not a tortoise, but they'll go ahead and they'll go like this. Okay, maybe they won't knock glasses off, but you get what I mean. And now it will be on top of a hard surface where they will again file down their nails as they scrape the surface more. So the more they move their arms and their nails, that's gonna file it down if it hits that hard surface. But going more specific to that food item, you can offer things like squash, which is a little bit harder, and better yet, you could offer tortoise diet. Yes, Missouri tortoise diet can come pretty hard. I like to actually add water to some, and then some of the other ones I'll add a little less water to, so it's a little bit harder and requires a little bit more effort for Tortellini to chop into, and that will definitely be a good hard surface to file that beak down against. And not only will they rub stuff that sticks to their face off, but they'll try to hold things down too, which something like a hard tortoise diet nugget, that's going to be something hard to hold down, definitely something that will help with their nails being trimmed. Now, if you do want to manually do it, I suggest looking into those nail trimmers, or I don't know what they're called, but they file them down. They kind of like are on a rotator mechanism that makes it spin really quick and you rub it up against. If you have a dog, you've probably seen the vet use it on your dog to trim down their nails or file it down. It's not the exact clippers. I think you guys probably get what I mean. Look into that. I've seen that used before. I believe there's a Camp Kennan video that shows him using it. So if you are wanting to do it manually, I suggest starting there and looking into that. But that's all I'll say on that topic because I don't really know much about it. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think. Do you have any tips and tricks for filing down beak and nails on Russian tortoises or tortoises in general? I'd love to hear from you guys. Leave a comment below and let me know. A quick shout out to the patrons: Hex, Cat and Rick, Darian J, Herb M, David T, Angela L, Smooth Cat, and Stephanie S. I really appreciate your support. You guys too can support the channel for as little as $1 a month. Check the top right for more information. Tier 3 gets you on my forehead, and Hex I think is pretty much set on my nose, so probably just the forehead. Additionally, check out Reptile. You can get $5 off your first order of Reptile by using code Professor Herp at checkout. There's a link in the description that will automatically apply that code for you. Reptile is very nutritious. I give it to Frapp exclusively. He's my Tegu. He loves it and has never been healthier since switching over to that diet. You can use it for blue-tongued skinks, hognose snakes, and much, much more. Definitely check it out. Again, check out the link in the description below. And that's about it, guys. I appreciate you watching. Make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you in the next video. Also, check out the merch that's to the left of my head, right on your screen. Almost forgot, guys, but I got the plug-in. Don't worry. That will be in the Teespring link in the description below. See y'all.